mayor, where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. Where seldom is had a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. On the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day.
Called a citizen's guide to redistricting. This isn't my creation. He's identified 8 factors that should be considered when you redistrict. Wyandotte and Douglas, which have their own senators representing them, and Leavenworth has none. We're the only major county that does not have its own senator. In fact, of the 10 largest counties by population, only Leavenworth County doesn't have a whole preponderance of a Senate district, and we haven't had our own resident center in excess of 10 years at least. We do rate having our own population and distribution within Leavenworth. Second category, minority representation. The largest part of the Voting Rights Acts apply to discrimination against minorities. Courts will take us to task.
Now we have Mr. Cook, and he will give the presentation for TP. As I understand it, his views will be on a somewhat different tack on redistricting. So without further ado, Mr. Cook.
Well, I'm going behind somebody who's got an A+, and I got this email from Dr. Evans that said nobody was representing the alternative viewpoint. I look around this room, I'm not sure I'm going to change a lot of minds if I'm going to convince John Bradford of my position, or Louis Clem, Sandra, Jana. I see a lot of Republican faces in this crowd.
So where are the Democrats?
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Get 2 up here.
Yeah, and speaking of Democrats, I'm here to represent the Democratic point of view, and yet the current map that we have today was passed by the 2000 legislature. And I looked that up. I don't have, and like I say, I was informed of this last night, and I stayed up until 4 in the morning researching, and then got up at 10 in the morning, somebody who's going to fight for people who are in the bottom 20%. I don't care where it is. What positions where location matters less than where they stand on the issue. Issues should matter. Now, Mr. Beck said he was going to show us what the alternatives were, and I don't know what the alternatives were, but I heard the other day that this map that's supposed to include all of Leavenworth County doesn't include where J.C. Tellefson lives. Because I'm thinking from a political standpoint, hey, if there's a Leavenworth County district, we'll run Melanie Meyer and we might beat him anyway. I have great faith in Melanie Meyer, and then I can run for the 40.
Hearing this as I stand and walk around, I hear that people think Melanie does great things for this county. She does. Where does she live? In this county. Where do they live? So why don't we have a senator that lives in this county that gives a crap like she does?
Tom says, no, it doesn't matter. I would hope that a guy living in Baldwin City, just south of Lawrence, would be very interested in his area. When he's, 40, 50 miles from me in Leavenworth, I don't think he really cares much about the tail end of the dog, as Tom put it. The same way if you live in Piper. But I would really hope that someone that lived in Leavenworth County, like I do, or in at least the city of Leavenworth, which is the major population center, would take an interest in where they live. Since location does matter. It's a power struggle in the Senate. That's the main issue.
I would like to point out that the House passed our map on February 9th. All right? The process works. If you have dysfunctional, egotistical, self-centered senators who care only about maintaining their turfdom, then you are going to have what we have right now, which is continued dysfunctional, unbelievable, egocentric. You want to talk about what the map was that they passed out, which was called...
Get off the Democratic and Republican BS and be people for the county and for the state. You know why the senators aren't here? Why are we debating this? We know why they're not here. We're not important. That is the reason they're not here.
I'm not so much angry as puzzled. Why?
I want to go to some other points that I think need to be highlighted that Mr. Cook made, and they're good points, and they're also in the slideshow. And that is, Democrats have done well in Leavenworth County. We've had, before we split the county the way it is now, we had a Democrat senator, Chris Biggs. We've had, as was mentioned, a sheriff elected on a countywide basis who's been a Democrat. Democrats have won that historically. I didn't know that a Republican could run. As was mentioned by Mr. Cook, various Democrat candidates, Sebelius and Slattery and others, have carried majorities in Leavenworth County. This is not a shoo-in for a Republican candidate. And Leavenworth voters have always voted for what they saw as the best candidate. I don't think party affiliation is going to throw an election one way or the other, Tom. The headline said, I'm sorry, Dale, it's not one senator or two. It's got to be two or more, because we have more than enough population for one Senate district. The rest of that population is going to be another Senate district. You dilute the representation, and to the detriment of Leavenworth, when what things come out the way they are now, going to 3, I agree with you, would dilute it even more. We can't have a Senate district that is predominantly in Leavenworth County, still have 2 Senate districts. We have to have at least 2 Senate districts in Leavenworth County. What's the loss? What's the loss? You're not going to go to 1. You're going to have at least 2. And that would give you the representation, and when you go up there, you would have a senator from Leavenworth, which is what they're called in the Senate. They address them as the senator from Johnson. There's 7 of them. The senator from Wyandotte, there's 3 of them. The senator from Douglas, there's 2 of them. There is no senator from Leavenworth, and there never will be unless we take this advantage and this reapportionment to do that.
And we play second fiddle to all the other counties, or we can have something else, like a unified county.
Any questions, comments? Bob.
Well, the obvious thing that pops out at me, because I haven't really been following this, is where's leadership? Why hasn't this been settled?
At the city, the county, the state, there is no leadership. We have one of the most valuable diamonds in the state, Fort Leavenworth.
Should Leavenworth have or not have its own senator, has unfortunately been tangled up with what I've always seen as a separate issue, as to who that senator should be. And I feel that is a mistake. That district will be in place for a minimum of 10 years. Probably, given the nature of political realities, once Leavenworth is all in one Senate district, I find it, in political terms, extremely unlikely that it would ever again be divided among two districts. So what we're talking about is an arrangement that could go on for decades. And to focus, therefore, on who is or is not going to win the 2012 election has unfortunately taken up too much of our attention.
If you think those two senators who do not live in Leavenworth County give a damn about us, you're nuts. It's that simple.
We're going to march over there and see if we can't get about 500 people over there saying, we want it changed. We want it now. We want our own senator. We don't care whether he's black, white, green, yellow, whether he's a Democrat, Republican, Independent.
Put it to the test. Do what's right. Give Leavenworth County its own senator.
Give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. The seldom is had a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. On the range where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word.